Hello, all you fantastic people out there. This is Morgan Straughan Comnick for another reading of one of my published works. I'm going to be reading another sample of the first book in my duology for my new adult series, The Hunter and the Bringer. So again, this is for 17 plus, just as a disclaimer, due for some words and violence and other adult-like content. I have to say that because I am an elementary teacher. I'm really excited to be reading part of chapter 5 today. I'm sporting some Mulan gear with headband, and I got a sword necklace because I really wanted to see the movie back in March. And alas, you know, this Corona had to come and rain down her terror on us, but that's okay. We are persevering, and I hope we're coming together to just make better changes for our environment. But until then, we can always find new ways to be creative, and that includes writing for me and for you guys also reading, hopefully. So I talked a little bit in my last one about Hunter and Bringer and the basic synopsis of this. So what's happening now is Jeremey and Val are slowly starting their assignment together to take down this monster threat, even though they're from conflicting rivalry organizations. And she just had a meeting with her analyst, Kessler. He was a real timid one back in chapter 1. And they're trying to get clues from the people who had been kidnapped or attacked by this hyperred monstrum, or that's Latin for monster. So she's done with it. She had their first encounter with Jeremey outside of the headquarters, and he's just being a prick. And overconfident like normal. That's not how Val rolls, so she just needs to de-stress, so she's gonna go to the gym. And of course, poor Val, poor things, life is just not gonna go the way it's supposed to. So this is just a few pages of chapter 5 of my new adult Monster Hunter series, The Hunter and Bringer. You can get it on Amazon. I will put all the links in the description below. Again, if you have a Kindle, it's on there. If you have any other e-reader, Smashwords, iTunes. I'm not sure if Barnes & Noble has this book, but they do have my older works on their website. So you'll be able to get it. BAM also has it as well. Right. So this is chapter 5 of The Hunter and the Bringer. I emerged from the girls' locker room feeling pumped, hoping that the stretch in my muscles would allow my mind to go into a state of calm. I went up the stairs to the workout area, rounding the narrow corner to the sliding door that required my thumbprint and passcode. When I gained permission to proceed, I unslung my pink High School Musical gym bag. Zac Efron is yummy, don't judge me. To place it in the corner of the room by the water fountain so I could see it, throwing my purple fluffy towel on top. After a swig of water from my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers bottle, I zoomed past the mirror to get a glimpse of my reflection. From here, I looked like an overly tired girl with bruised circles under her eyes, little dots and lines on her arms from fights, road maps to an adventure to a land mortals didn't know. I graced a messy ponytail, an old dull gray Baton Twirlers team shirt, and hot pink workout capris. I was a mismatched specimen with my youth and battering, wizened eyes young in soul, but my spirit, like my pale image staring back at me, it felt lost at times. I had a roaring sense of justice, a creative essence, a determination to survive, and wanted to have some playful fun while doing it. That doesn't mean it always reached my heart. My heart is on standby, and I wasn't sure it would ever fully restart again. I ventured over to the chest fly machine, testing out the rhythm I wanted to pace myself. I was alone, which was a needed blessing, and a rarity. I was getting into a slow momentum, the quiet humming of the AC for once sending me in a trance, when I heard the gentle swoosh of the sliding door. Well, my 2 minutes of solitude was nice, but as a kindergarten teacher, I knew how to be a good sharer, and at least I can put my iPod earbuds in. Until I saw who entered the room. Scratch that. I refused to share anything with the devil. My mind was immediately on alert, but my body refused to accept reality in a timely manner, letting go of the handles with a strain, like I was heavy. I could feel my hard glare sinking my eyeballs into my skull, my mouth pouting, and my face too hot. Sorry about that. My phone decided to be silly. When the machine finally gave away to allow me to move my limbs freely, I leaned forward, ready to challenge this foe who was wearing way too much aftershave, bright red athletic shorts, and a tight cobalt blue Puma brand athletic shirt. Through clenched teeth, I addressed the elephant in the room as he grinned at me like a monkey fighting a hidden banana. What the heck are you... Miss Hemingway? A voice crackled the air like a firecracker in the humid air. In the doorway, screeching to a sudden halt, with his wingspan frantic, face panting and hot, was Mike Kessler, his mouth agape, the personification of terror. The three of us all locked gazes for what passed like an eternity, but the tension too crisp for me. But stupid butt munch was at ease, arching his eyebrow, confused at my friend, and flirting at me. Oh, he's lucky I was sitting. Miss Hemingway, I'm sorry to intrude, but I just found out about... His sight shifted timidly to the intruder to our compound, who looked monstrous compared to Kessler's tiny frame, his body getting swallowed by the shadow. Kessler's lips trembled before he found his breathy voice again. But I see you discovered what I just did. When you left. Then he did a little bow after leaning on the glass, his forehead leaving a sweat print, a reminder of him before he bolted in near tears. Then we were alone, Jeremey and me. He placed his hands dramatically on his hips and gave me a look of oozing confidence. It made me feel sick in the pit of my stomach. Showing me his pearly whites, he strode over to the free weights, pretending to take his time and hover over the massively heavy ones. I resisted the urge to huff and mock how casually he appeared to work out while I was still on 15-pound weights. But my form was excellent. Plus, I knew how to handle all my weapons like the licensed pro I was. So, hearty heart to you, annoying sir. I bent down to get out my pink and lime green free weights to start my curl routine on the bench. The tension and slight burn in my muscles felt reassuring, empowering me, but the stinging heat that was creeping in my cheeks from the start of sweat and stress was beyond frustrating. Jeremey started to make grunting sounds, daring me to look up at him with a look that showed he was pretending he wasn't interested in my whole attention, but he secretly was yearning for it. His cheeks puffed out with a victorious intake as he curled a, sad to admit, impressive weighted dumbbell. When he caught sight of my quick glance, his glass-green eyes winked at me, a childish sparkle that got my breathing raspy. After he slammed the weights down, right before I was done with my count, I squared my jaw and asked him point blank, tired of this charade. Okay, Jeremey, what the heck are you doing working out without consent in the Hunter's Gym? My teeth mashed together at the same time I pounded my fist angrily to the side of my pants, causing a clashing friction duet. His response... He stretched before gracing me with a full smile of white teeth, while positioning himself to do some leg stretches right in front of my mat, blocking my plan to go to the new machine. Well, Chief Edric and Father Stillman approached me when I clocked in this afternoon. I believe you were in a research meeting with that frightened little hobbit fellow of yours, Chandler? Kessler, I defended my dear friend, huffing out my annoyance with a turn of my head. Beef jerky jerk just shrugged and did some sit-ups as he continued his explanation. Well, our bosses were showing me around the central computer room and let me analyze the same articles you guys were. Father then suggested that since your headquarters was closer to all of the most recent crime scenes, then it would make sense for me to report to work here on this joint assignment. Like you, my sweet, tasty honeydew, I have a routine of combat training, self-defense, counseling, meetings, research, conducting, and workouts. I cannot, for my delicate as a flower mental health, cannot alter or skip for such a long period of time. Lady Edric looked like she swallowed a moldy peach pit when Stillman brought it up, but somehow the geezer wore her down. He has so much skill that makes me almost want to buy me some dopey Mr. Rogers-inspired sweater vest like him. Almost. He hooted at the memory of my chief, my tough as nails, and does it with grace while her nose is in the air chief, succumbing to a middle-aged man only because he had a kind voice and innocent smile that made him the dream casting for a preschool educational TV program host. I would have to do some probing with Chief once Bozo the spiked clown was gone for the night. Where was my life heading? I thought the agency was my safe haven from the outside judgments and worries of the world. Yes, I get I'm supposed to be outside saving the lives and innocence of American citizens, but whatever. The glass can be looked at many angles. I braced myself, feeling that I aged 50 years in my lower back, careful not to make direct eye contact as I snubbed my way around his shifting position. I see. Well, for this evening, how nice for you. But let me tell you something now, sir. I hissed my mock at his fake superiority over me. You are not a hunter. You must respect and abide by our regulations, including not bothering the agent during their workout session. Often these are the very few things we have. I didn't give him a chance to reply to my snippy but informative tone, seeking and claiming the treadmill that was my self-proclaimed spot. I would have liked to turn on the TV and watch a classic show from TV Land or one of the music stations, since I was for once alone from my fellow hunters. But I had to close myself off again from... But I had to close myself off again from tight bleep. In more ways than one, because I was noticing when he bent over to touch his toes, because he was here. Oh well, I suppose being locked inside my soul through my earbuds and pulse of the melodies of my liking was the next best step. I programmed my piece, started the heart monitor controls, and took my fast steps on my own way on this journey around a make-believe track. My ears began absorbing the rhythms and lyrics with the beat of my strides. I was almost fully engrossed in the Val zone, but then I saw Jack Stoopington take the machine to my right. He stapled a baboon grin on his face as he pressed the buttons to start the machine at a fast walk. I rolled my eyes and stared straight ahead, ignoring him, focusing on the road I had to travel that only I could tread. To respect the confines of the space, I had my music on a low volume, a habit a good human would do on autopilot. I expect to jock the... I can't say that either. I'll just say I expected jock. It rhymes with jock. To do the same, but alas, I was disappointed. The first thing I noticed was the flashing of colors in front of my eyes as the TV was turned on. Okay, whatever. Most people in the gym use the subtitles to not bug the other people. I heard him ing to himself and bulging his tongue inside of his cheek. Like that. To make it expand humorously as he fought while channel surfing, searching for the wave that would ride him to the climax of his workout. I inhaled and then exhaled, trying to find another cleansing breath to become one with this Panic at the Disco song I recently just downloaded, when instead I heard a blaring line of a song I had never expected to hear in the monstrum hunting killing establishment. Everybody makes mistakes. I jolted upright, losing my right earbud in the process as I tried to regain my balance of almost sliding off the treadmill, my lungs and heart jumping up into my throat. It took me a moment or two to carefully baby step back into my power walk pace, for suddenly, as my dad would elegantly inform, the track felt as slick as greased cow poop. Oh my gosh, yes, it's Hannah Montana. I freaking love her. This is my jam. These fangirling exclaims came from Jeremey to my right, who was cooing with his curled hand under his chin, his eyes dazzling to reflect the rosy image he was witnessing on the flat screen. With a flare that would have popped my head off if I was next to him, he thrusted his arms widely outward to the ceiling, wooting with glee. He continued to jog slowly on, but with passion that could run a power factory. I use the expression mind blown like everybody else, but that is what was going on. Let me tell you, having your brain so shocked that it cannot process what it is seeing as it slowly melts into your socks is a scary thing we should not joke about any longer. Watching Jeremey flip his luscious fake locks and use an invisible, sparkling microphone to get his illusioned fans to cheer his name was sickening. I would much rather be licking salt off of sandpaper. Nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again till I get it right. Sing with me, darling, Jeremey proclaimed as he shook his hips with too much pizzazz. My ears could not handle the belting out of his of his inner Devo, and I cringed, my arms wrapping around themselves. Oh my gosh, around myself. Jeremey singing is messing with me, guys. I just wanted to sink into the corner, into the shadows, and and forge my way to an expensive therapy session that I was now going to require. I'll send the bill from the underworld. What? What is wrong with you? My voice cracked, a dry, wispy whisper, as I somehow kept my stance afloat on the treadmill. He cocked his head toward me and gave a bemused, boyish smile with no shame in my direction. Don't you see what a goddess Hannah is? Her energy, her message is empowering me. What's wrong with wanting to soak that up? His eyes were kind and dead serious as they bore into mine, a connection sizzling between us for the longest second ever, until I was burned and looked away. What was I supposed to say to that? I know what it's like to be picked on for liking something uncool that fills your soul with glee. Glee, the show, being one of those things. I was just stunned to see him act so imperfect yet innocent. I didn't agree with his choice in cult following songs, but maybe who was I to judge? Plus, the music totally rocks my nipples until they're hard. Among other things, my lady. I love you, Hannah! After his declaration of love, he hollered so even the angels were ducking from the noise. He took his hand towel from the treadmill carrier and swung it over his head rapidly, a raging hormonal man boy. And with that, I was done. With no emotion left in my body, I turned off my treadmill with ease. With my towel draped over me, I grabbed my duffel bag in an almost robotic-like state. I nonchalantly exited the gym, the clear sliding door the only sound I could process. The last utterance I heard but refused to acknowledge was duck-faced McButt Muffin wailing into a power ballad and then made the sound of what appeared to be a sloppy kissing smack, yelling, I'll serenade you once more when we meet again, my honey bunny of love. The door closed behind me, a clear exit to this new, unexpected chapter in this horror novel I lived in. I strode forward, steam coming out of my nostrils, a method of composure that took much of my energy. The halls glided past me, the shadows elongating into stripes that seemed to slowly bend to my whim, as if they were drooping with sorrow for me. My essence was drained, and I felt like a husk. Maybe I was the one who would be slain if I was not careful. Okay, that's just a little fun background and some of the bantering that you will definitely see in both the Hunter and the Bringer books. So the first one is this one, The Hunter and Bringer. It has now been available on Amazon since 2018. And book 2, Monsters and Immortals, it will be coming out super, super soon. And that will also be available on Amazon along with the other places listed in a description. If you really want an autographed copy, you can contact me and we will make arrangements. I do that for conventions. I sell my books and attend to often, and I would be happy to do so. If you have questions, comments, I would really appreciate those. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you've read any of my books. I love talking to you guys and connecting with other fans and authors and just beautiful, wonderful people. I've met so many wonderful people for this experience in writing, and I'm very grateful for that. So, all right. Hope you guys have been enjoying the readings of Hunter and Bringer. Sorry again, I get tongue-tied pretty easily, but hopefully you're getting the essence of Val Hemmingway and Mr. Jeremey Darington. All right. You guys stay safe. Make sure you enjoy yourselves with this nice warm weather. And remember that you are all wonderful and fantastic, and use your light to shine. And I'm going to be looking for that light every single time. All right. You guys take care. Johnny.